Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then on Wednesdays I post this video up. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. I would like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. They are awesome. I have had lots of good feedback. People seem to like the therapists that they are getting through betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez, which is fabulous because they are all master's level or PhD level. They are licensed. So, and if you don't like your therapist, you just go online, fill out a few questions, and they will place you with somebody else. So thank you, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay. OMG, so many questions from this week's video that I did on the court system. Some of them I don't have great answers for because I'm not an attorney and I do not play one on TV. Question, has an adult ever sued their narcissistic parents for the abuse that they did? Yes, I'm sure that that has happened. It seems the narc abuse survivors often have very little option when it comes to this. You are correct. So I pulled up Injury Claim Coach. So it's injuryclaimcoach.com, educating injury victims, and the article is, can you sue your parents for physical or emotional abuse? Yes, you can, but the sticky wicket is you have to have evidence. You have to have proof. Statute of limitation, there is a statute of limitations for deadlines in filing criminal or civil actions against a wrongdoer. Most states have an extended criminal statute of limitations for felony sexual abuse. This means the offender can face criminal charges from the state for sexual abuse of a minor child even decades after the abuse occurred. Misdemeanor sexual abuse and other types of child abuse and neglect can have shorter deadlines. Abusers found guilty of criminal sexual abuse will be incarcerated. The statute of limitations for suing abusive parents or family members begins to run when the victim reaches the age of majority, usually 18 years of age. Other than sexual abuse complaints, the deadline for civil child abuse lawsuits is often the same as the personal injury statute of limitations for the state. In recent years, lawmakers have begun to appreciate the challenges faced by adult survivors of child abuse, and especially adult survivors of child sexual abuse. The severe psychological impact of sexual abuse often means that the victim is unable to recognize and articulate the abuse well into adulthood. Many statutes run for 3 to 5 years after the victim turns 18. So if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, so it looks like most statutes have when the victim turns 23 years old, which is stupid because a lot of people don't even come to the realization that they've been abused, really, until they're in their much later 30s, sometimes 40s, occasionally 50s or 60s. So, yeah, you can sue them, but it's a matter of you need evidence. Unfortunately, you've got to have evidence. And because, I mean, you can make accusations and they can be true, but if there's no evidence to back it up, you're not going to get anywhere. So remember, the court system is all facts and figures, no emotion. Facts and figures, that's what they care about. Facts and figures and getting off their docket. That's all they care about. So you're going to have to check into the statute of limitations in your state because it looks like 3 to 5 years after the victim turns 18 or after the victim discovers the abuse occurred. So that's confusing. So check with your attorney. Seek legal advice from an experienced personal injury attorney about child welfare laws and victim rights in your state. That is the best advice I can give you. So yeah, you can sue your abuser, but again, you would need to have evidence, and I don't know what the statute of limitations is in your state. So, okay. Yeah, there are very little options. It really is so stupid the way they've got it set up, because if you've got dissociative identity disorder and you are not remembering stuff and you know something happened but you don't know what happened, and then you can't access that until you can get to a good trauma therapist, then how in the hell are you going to be able to do that within the 3 to 5 years? Because usually people don't get to that point until they're in their mid-30s. So sometimes things that make my head hurt. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll see what else I can find. But that's what I know. Yes, you can sue them, but you've got 3 to 5 years. And you have to have evidence. Okay, what do you do when your ex moves back into your building during high conflict divorce after not having lived here for 5 years? No minor children are involved, not even during commencement. So if they are harassing you, if they are trying to intimidate you, you file a restraining order against them. So, but again, in order to get an order of protection, you have to have evidence. You can't just be like, oh, they've moved into my building. Well, the judge is going to look at that and go, well, they have a right to live in an apartment building, or a condo or a, co-op or whatever it is. So you have to have evidence that they are intentionally harassing you, stalking you, that kind of thing. Yes, it is a high conflict divorce. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep every text. You're going to be very aware of your surroundings. You're going to make sure that you have witnesses if you ever happen to run into him or her. So what do? You just keep living your life. You do. And you just document. And it says you're going through the high conflict divorce now. So yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. You got to realize that narcissists and dark triads are crazy and they thrive on drama and they thrive on chaos. So the less drama and chaos you can give, the less, the less you react to their presence, the better. And basically it's a pissing match at this point. They're trying to see if they can make you move out. Some cases that might be the best option, but it's like, if you can do it and not be forced out of your house, I would stay. Just don't interact with them and keep a phone handy and don't be alone with them if you can avoid it. So, and if it veers into verbal harassment, stalking, that kind of thing, then you're going to want to file an order of protection. So for sure. Okay. Can your ex come after you for their lawyer's fees and court costs as well? Yeah, they can try, but generally courts don't allow that unless there is egregious, obvious, this person is continually filing motion after motion after motion after motion. And sometimes the judges will go, nope. When they file for getting their stuff paid, the judges will say, yeah, you go ahead and get it paid because this person is doing frivolous filings and frivolous lawsuits and frivolous whatever. So can they try that? Yeah, they absolutely can try. And that's why you need a good attorney to argue it and be like, no, we're not paying this person's part of the divorce. They're saying they don't want the divorce and they don't want to have to pay for it. And no, that's not the way it works. So, but I've seen narcissists do that because they're selfish and they're stupid. And they don't understand that, it's like if you're going to fight over every toothpick, then you're gonna have to pay, dude or dudette. So there it is. Narcissist mother was awfully damaging, had to repair many facets of my life. Does it matter if it affects their health when they are so damaging to others? No more of their double standards. I'm not sure I understand the question. I think it might have to do with the question on Sunday about not going no contact and the fear of going no contact affecting the narcissistic mother's health. You know what? They are reaping what they have sowed, honestly, in my opinion. If they wanted people to stick around and take care of them, then perhaps they should not have been major weenies, Seriously. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. It's like, if you want people to be around you in your old age, how about you act like a decent human being and stop being an abusive POS, So, it doesn't matter. They are reaping what they have sowed. Now, here we go with compassion and idiot compassion. You can have compassion for them in that, wow, it sucks to be them. I see how miserable it is. I see that you're alone. I get that you're miserable, and I cannot fix you because I did not break you. It's not my job. Because they don't really want to be fixed. If they wanted to be fixed, they'd pick up the books and they'd start working on themselves. They do not want to be fixed. It's not our job. It's not our job. So in Buddhism, we have this thing where it's like, you can help people, absolutely. You can light the path for them, but you may not walk the path for them. They have to walk the path themselves. As painful as that is sometimes to see somebody just, being miserable and running into walls and, but I call them ask holes. Help me, help me, help me. And then you help them. And then 2 seconds later, help me, help me, help me. And then you help them. And then 2 seconds later, help me, help me, help me. And then you help. And it's a never ending cycle. So you got to stop because that's now enabling. So, no, they're karma at its finest. And like I said, the old age homes are filled with collapsed narcissists. They're just mean. They're just mean. And they're vile. And they're angry. And they're bitter. And they're, good God, nobody wants to be around them. Not even the staff. So, that's karma. You don't have to be around them. You did not break them. You cannot fix them. It's not your job. You may not walk the path for them. Idiot compassion is where we go, oh my God, I see you're suffering. I'm going to fix you. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. It'd be so nice if you could just hit the easy button and help people attain enlightenment. But it doesn't work that way. They've got to do what they've got to do. And sometimes they don't get it at all, ever. Not in this lifetime, not in the next. So it's a thing. I'm tired. Can you tell? I'm just... It's hot and I'm tired and our air conditioner is definitely on the way out. So, anyway, at least it's cooler. That's nice. It's a little, and when I say cooler, it's like 102 as compared to 112. So, whatever. Anyway, okay. Where was I? Okay. What is the average retainer fee to get started with a family lawyer? Probably at least 10 grand to start. I would assume 5 grand. Five is pretty much average. That's right in between. Some charge 10 grand, some charge lower, but 5 grand seems to be the more or less the average. So, and again, ask around, ask different attorneys. What's your retainer fee? And that'll kind of give you a feel for what the price range is. Okay. Can you use your Fifth Amendment rights in family court and be able to just stay silent and not answer any questions? I assume the lawyers handle everything in mediation anyways. So Fifth Amendment is when you would otherwise incriminate yourself. And it's used in criminal things, not in civil things. So you can probably work with your attorney on what to answer or how to answer. So attorneys do tend to handle things in mediation, but you obviously have to do some of the talking. That's why I don't particularly care for mediation, because if you're dealing with somebody who is unreasonable, irrational, just wanting to fight, mediation isn't going to help, because they're not going to come to the middle ground. They're not. There is no middle ground when it comes to a narcissist. It's a win-lose situation for them, and they always have to win. So mediation to them feels like losing, because they're not getting everything. Because remember, splitting. They've got very split, rigid thinking. So, no, you're going to have to talk, and you're going to have to work with your attorney on what to say and how to say it, and how to answer questions and things like that. So pleading the fifth is, I'm not going to say anything that's going to incriminate myself. It's a criminal protection. So no, you're not going to do that in a civil case. So work with your attorney, and they should be able to help you through that. Okay, I think I answered all of the questions. This Sunday, I will be talking about con artists. So we're going to be talking about the flim-flams, the con artists, the scammers, I've noticed a lot of scam things on email. I've gotten the most outrageous variations on the Nigerian prince theme. But, yeah, and they're playing on people's fondest desires, or again, narcissists, or playing on what magic thinking. If little kids could make good things happen, what it would look like. And that's a lot of what these scams look like, is like, it's almost like a little kid going, oh, I wish, and then boom, here comes this email. So they're playing on naivete, and they're playing on the magic thinking, and they're playing on the inner child, which is why it's so important to work on your inner child. So we're going to talk about con artists, flim-flams, scammers, etc., and what to do about it, and all that sort of stuff, and what to watch out for, and how to protect yourself, and all that sort of good stuff, and why they do what they do. So we're going to be talking a little bit about antisocial, psychopath, narcissistic, control. They're pretty heinous, and I've got some stories to tell that involved members of my family that almost got scammed. So anyway, we'll talk about that. All right, guys, have a great week. Stay cool, drink tons of water, take good care of yourselves, and I will talk to you on Sunday. See you later.